And like by watching like women's football, obviously it's not at the standard the boys are at yet, and like there's so much improvement to do. But so like everyone has a right to say like women's football isn't as good as men's, because like to be honest, like they've been playing much longer, and it's not where it's like women's and like men's. Like it's so different, the game. Like we aren't exactly where it's at yet, but we'll get there eventually, kind of thing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. How is the game changing? So from even before you were playing in the AFLW, how have you observed the AFLW, just the standard changing from, let's say, the first season now to the season that you're about to embark on?
Yeah, like I feel like the speed of the game has increased so much. Like you look back on season 1 of the AFLW and like the ball movement is so slow and most kicks are stuffed up. And then like watching the game on the weekend, like with North Melbourne and the Crows, like you just watch the ball movement of the game and like the speed and like the overlap handball, and like it's just amazing to watch, because yeah, like it didn't used to be like that, and it would be frustrating because like there just wouldn't be anything exciting happening. But then when you see like the fast ball movement happening, it's just good to watch.
Alrighty. Welcome to another episode of Going Pro, and today we have Amelie Borg, who was drafted by Port Adelaide Football Club in their inaugural season in 2022 as a 17-year-old, the first and last person to be drafted in high school. Now that's changed, and you came off being Australian for South Australia at the National Under-18 Championships, and you've been a state level shot putter and netballer as well. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to go straight into talking about your junior career, shot put, netball, and then footy. Was footy even on your radar? Was netball your main sport? How did that kind of come about? Were you thinking, am I even going to be a footballer, or am I going to be a pro netballer? What was that kind of junior career like, and what were you thinking about actually having a professional pathway in?
Yeah, well, my mum did athletics when she was younger, so my brother and sister and I kind of started just doing athletics for Golden Grove. So we've grown up out there, and so yeah, we did little athletics. I think we started in like when we were like 6 or 7 or something like that. The Tiny Tots, I think it's called, or something. And from there on, I did that my whole life until I was about probably 16. And then throughout the way, I picked up netball. And my mum also did netball, so she was all about that kind of stuff. And then, so yeah, I was doing shot put and discus. They were my main events. And I trained probably like 3 times a week for that, and then 3 times a week for netball. And then I kind of started getting more into my netball, and at this stage I think represented South Australia for athletics like 4 or 5 times, and I was lucky enough to get second in Australia for shot put, which was like a huge achievement for me. So then kind of giving up athletics was a big thing to focus on my netball, but in the end it was definitely worth it. So yeah, then I started doing netball and represented South Australia probably about 2 or 3 times. And then one night down at Golden Grove Football Club, my sister needed a fill-in, and I was like, oh, Mum, like, I'll do it. And then she was like, no, Emily, like, you've got netball coming up, you've got a state championships, you don't want to get injured or like hurt a finger or whatever. And then my dad's like, no, like, come on, like, that would be good. Like, you'd be a good football player, you may as well try it out. And anyways, Mum and Dad were speaking for a few days, and then they came across and said, yes, you can do it. And so it was a Friday night, and I ended up playing, and I absolutely loved it. And from then on, I filled in for my sister's team every single week for that season. I think it was like probably 10 games left or something like that. And then the following year, I signed up for football, and I still was doing netball at this stage. And then I got invited out to North Adelaide under 14s and 16s. And so I did that, and like doing this kind of stuff just made me love the game even more. And then I got invited out to the Crows Academy. And then when I started getting invited out to like the Crows Academy and things started to like pick up a lot, then I was kind of like, oh, what do I do with my netball? Anyways, I continued doing that. And then the following year I got invited out to the SANFLW North Adelaide. So the women's team. And then my coach said, like, if anyone's doing 2 sports, like, please come and talk to me, and we'll like figure things out and see what's best, we think is best for you. And then so that was a big chat that I had there, and then we just ended up saying that like football is like what I probably love more. And so I was like, all right. Then I dropped netball and I played for Garville in the city. And then every now and then they would need a fill in. I was like, if you do, like, please reach out to me and I'd be more than happy to. And I filled in probably about twice that year. So that was 2021. Mm-hmm. And then after that, from SANFLW, we came, I think, 5th that year. And I played every game, which was like a huge achievement to play league women's football at, I think I was 16. I think I'd just turned 16. And then like talk started happening like, oh, you could get drafted and things like that. And I was like,
you're like, no.
Like, that's not me. Like, I'm not going to be playing AFLW. Like, I mean, it's a huge dream, but like didn't even really think about it back then. And then, so yeah, netball was dropped at that stage. And then the following year was 2022. So this is the year that I actually ended up getting drafted. And so at the start of the season, my coach was kind of like to me, like I had a few like little niggles in the pre-season going into like this season. And she was like, oh, like I don't really like, no, you're probably sitting in between like reserves and league football right now. And like hearing that was like, okay, like I've just played every single game for league and then now like I could be playing reserves football. And that was like a huge like impact to me. Like I was so...
Why did she say that if you're already playing league the whole time?
I think because like we got new girls and like come into the team and like it's a whole new pre-season. I can't expect stuff off the last season kind of thing. And like, I don't know, that like really hurt me. And I was like, nah, this is not happening. So I was like, I worked so much harder. I took gym more seriously. I took my running more seriously. I did as many extras as I could because my kicking wasn't really up to where it needed to be. And I was like, okay, that needs to be a huge focus. So anyway, leading into game 1, I was nervous about selections and stuff and I ended up getting picked and I was like, okay, thank goodness. And then for the remainder of the season, I got picked, played every game. We won the premiership that year and it was just an amazing season. And yeah, I knew like going like in the middle of the season, I was like, okay, like there's talk about Port Adelaide coming into the competition because Port wasn't an AFLW team yet. And so like, growing up, I was like going for Crows and like wanting to play for Crows. But I've grown up a Port supporter. So like, and my dad's a Port supporter and my sister and like they love it. So yeah, anyways, when Port like were announced they were coming in, I was like, okay, wow. And then there's lots of articles that get written and like they throw names in there and I was one of them and I was like, yes. And like I kind of like got my hopes up real high. And then I signed with my manager Greg and he like spoke to lots of teams for me and Port was one of them that he spoke to and they kind of just said they're not too interested in me. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, and then Crows said, no, probably not either. So I was like, oh, okay. Like there's all this talk in the media about like, oh, these are the people Port are going to get picked and like you get your hopes up. And then hearing that like really hurt me kind of as well. Like, I don't know, you just read this stuff and you think it's just going to happen when it doesn't come that easy, I guess. And so yeah, he spoke to quite a few other clubs and I had interest from other clubs. So like on draft night, I was at home, not expect because with the women's draft, so you probably wouldn't know how that works. No.
Also, sorry to butt in. Can I just get you a little bit closer to the mic?
Oh, yeah. Sure. Sorry.
Is that better, Dill?
Yeah, it's much better.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, you're like a runaway train just talking for ages. Like, when am I going to tell you to get a little bit closer? Yeah, probably like this sort of distance is good. But yeah, you've got a strong voice, so you don't need to be too loud as well.
Okay, perfect. Is that better? Sorry.
You're talking about the women's draft, how that works.
Right. So yeah, going into the women's draft, so you have to select a state and the state like is so if I pick SA, then only Crows or Port can pick me up. And if like interstate clubs want to pick you up, then they have to pass a pick in the draft and then they'll pick you up the next day. So it's like confusing.
Whereas it's not like that in the men's age.
No. So in the men's, like you can...
It's just you go wherever.
Yeah. And I think that's because like the women's money isn't where it's at yet. So if I was going to go to Sydney or like live over there, then like I would be using all my paycheck up to live kind of thing. So I think that's why it's like that. And so, yeah, anyways, I was at home not really expecting much from the draft night because, I was expecting an interstate club team to pass a pick and then pick me up the next day. And, like, obviously I still wanted Port to pick me up because, like, I've grown up a Port supporter. And anyways, I think it got to the 5th pick and still nothing. And Dad's like, to me, when the 6th pick came along, Dad was like, oh, Emily, like, Port have next pick. And I was like, Dad, like, it's not going to be me. Like, stop, like, go away. And like getting frustrated and stuff. And then all of a sudden, through Dad's phone, I hear Port say my name, and I was like, what the heck? Like, so confused, but like so happy. And then next minute I get a phone call from Erin Phillips and Lauren Arnell on my phone, like a FaceTime call, and I'm just there in my pajamas at home in bed, like in the dog's bed. And like it was just an amazing thing, because I just, growing up, I would never expected to play women's football. Like it was all my vision was netball, like, because that's like the girls' sport kind of thing. And so to be able to like be playing in the AFLW is just, amazing.
Yeah, that would have been such a weight off your shoulders, and what a relief to actually, all that hard work when that coach said to you, no, you might not be starting, and then you just doubling down and going, no, I'm going to get to work here. I'm going to do everything extra and really going to a new level. And all that work, and you see the sacrifice and then it pay off in that moment. It's like, wow, what a feeling that would have been.
No, definitely, like that feeling I can't even explain. Like, to know that like your hard work actually pays off, because like growing up I didn't know how to kick a football, mark a football or anything, like, and then playing like two proper years in like league football, and then getting drafted, just was amazing.
What did you love about the games? Because you said you picked it up late and then you filled in for your sister's team and you just absolutely loved it. What was it about footy that you loved more than, let's say, netball, the athletics pursuits that you were involved with?
I think like football is more of a team sport. Like obviously netball is a team sport, but like there's 8 or 16 people for girls on a football field, and like you just stand up for each other, like the aggression in the game, like you can't do that in netball. I think that was the main thing. And like also just playing with my sister just helped it so much. Like to start off playing with like her and like my friends from down there and like things like that. I think that's what really made me love it. For
sure. It's a very exhilarating feeling. I've only played when I was younger, and then I played a season when I took a break from tennis, and I played a season of footy. I just remember having the best time ever. Just the exhilarating feeling of that 360 awareness of like someone gonna crunch you from the side, and then you have to kind of evade and get the handball off, and then like just on the lead, getting the mark. You just feel this real exhilarating adrenaline feeling on the footy field that I haven't really experienced almost in any other sport. It's very exciting.
Definitely.
Is that super addictive for you?
100%. Like even when I did go back and still play netball while playing football, I would like spoil the netball or something and like bump my player out the way, and people would be like, who have you turned into? Like, why are you so aggressive all the time now? And like giving contact and things like that. And I think from that, I just realised that football just was where I wanted to go, and I just love the aggression.
Have you always had that? Like, was that something that you had as a kid growing up? Just a bit more kind of like aggression, like fight for the ball, and even in netball, you would have got maybe fouled a little bit more for being that sort of player?
Yeah, definitely. And like even a few games of basketball I played, and like just for school and things like that. And I would get fouled off. I think that's what it's called, like get fouled off, because I would always be like so aggressive and things like that. So I think just football is, because of that aggression, and you can't have that in netball. That's just what made me over the line with football.
Today's podcast sponsor is Electric Road Agency, who were formerly 4RT. Now, if you want a team of strategists, designers, producers, creators who drive stories to tell your advertising and marketing needs, these guys are the best in the business. They've been extremely influential for us at ATA. They've driven our media game forward to new levels that we never knew that were possible. And they've done it with countless brands, big, small, it doesn't matter what the size. They just love telling your story. So they specialize in health, wellness, fitness, tourism, construction, and they are just the best in the business in creating adaptive solutions to find how to tell your brand, or how to discover your brand and tell that story. So highly, highly, highly recommend these guys. And if you want to get in touch, please go on electricroad.au or search the Instagram handle Electric Road Agency, and they will answer your email, your call, your DM, and they'll be in touch, and they'll be able to tell your story very well. Is it way harder to have a career in netball? Like, is netball just a pathway? Because I don't know much about the pathway for women to become professional in netball and play for Australia. What is that pathway like in comparison to the football pathway that you've been on?
Yeah, to be honest, I wouldn't even really know about netball. Like, I just grew up and like I was good at it when I was young, but then I think growing up, like I was tall when I was younger, and I think that was a huge advantage for me in netball. And so, like, I think with the Thunderbirds here, and there's only the one SA team in netball, like, and there's not as many people on the netball field, well, court, yeah. So even things like that now. Like, I think it is a lot harder to get into netball probably now, but yeah, I wouldn't even really be too sure on the pathway.
Are a lot more girls around your age really getting into footy because of just like excitement around the AFLW and how it's been building, and just that there's actually been a pathway to have a professional career for a lot of like girls, young women like yourself? Yeah,
well, like definitely. And you see the talent now coming through in netball, like the younger girls. Like, we've just drafted 3 people through our IGA Academy, Molly, Shanae Goody, and Lauren Young. And
sorry, what's IGA Academy?
It's like an academy, like the little Port Academy, like under 14s and 16s, I think it is, and like Port Academy, and then there's Crows Academy as well, and I was part of the Crows Academy. And it's just like a little tournament you do, and like get to know like kind of the professional kind of thing. Like, Crows players would come and help us when I was in that. And it's like kind of a pathway to get to the AFLW kind of thing. And yeah, so we've just drafted 3 of those girls, and like you see their skills and like things like that. And when I first got drafted, I didn't have the skills that they have. And even in like under 14s or 16s or school carnivals and things, you would see the girls now coming through, and they just have like such amazing kicks and like things like that. When I was playing, that just wasn't a thing because it was just getting new. And I think now
100%.
Growing up, girls are able to like play football, and to be able to play from a young age, it just helps so much in like the way the football moves, because like it's not all bad kicks and they go elsewhere to where you want to kick and things like that. So it's a more intense game. And I think that like you even see that through the AFLW now, like from when it first started, like the standard has like risen so much, and yeah, it's just exciting to see where it's going now.
Yeah, 100%. Like the growth through the whole competition would have then just filtered through to young girls starting earlier, getting much better coaching, actually working on their skills at a younger age, so that when they are getting to like an age like you to be in the draft and play for AFLW, they're actually having really, really good skills. And that's just a byproduct of how much it's growing, like you said. With your transition, right? So when you're in high school, how do you manage being in high school, studying, and then actually having a career? Because I know like some of the kids that we train, they're training full on. They're probably training like 5, 6, almost every day. And then they're trying to actually study full on, go to uni or have a career where they actually can go to uni and have the potential to go to uni, but also maybe embark on a professional career. And I know some of the kids really just go full on into just being tennis players and maybe don't focus on their studies as much. Some of them get the balance right, and maybe some of them drop off with their tennis and maybe focus a little bit more on their studies when it gets down to the business end of school. So where was that balance for you, and how did you manage that of trying to potentially be a professional athlete, but also maybe not disregarding your study at the same time?
Yeah, I think like it was an advantage for me because I really wanted to do real estate. And so for real estate, you don't need an ATAR. And so when at the start of year 12, I was doing all 5 subjects. And so that was full on. And like, because I did do North training, and North like football club were really professional, and we would train probably about like 3 times a week. And then you have to do gym like 2 times a week or something. So that's 5 days. And then doing the 5 subjects at school and not getting behind was like a big thing. And then once the North Adelaide season finished, I then had probably about a month and a half to catch up on everything before the draft was coming up. And then once I did get drafted, I sat down with my school, what's the name of
like
it?
course coordinator,
coordinator
person.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And she was amazing, and we sat down and decided what I really wanted to do, and it was real estate. And she's like, okay, well, you don't need an ATAR for it. So let's drop like this and this. Then I ended up just doing 3 subjects. And then, so that was like 3 things that I had to focus on at school instead of the 5. So I would only go to school like 3 times a week. And then like I'll try to do that on like the non-training days. So I think we train like Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays or something like that for football. And then gyms would be Tuesday, Thursday. So then I would go to school on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And so for me, it was like I was very lucky to be able to manage it because like the girls, a few of the other girls who got drafted, they were going for full ATARs. And the good thing with Port, they were just so, if we had to miss a training to catch up on our schoolwork, they would not care at all. Like we wouldn't be disadvantaged or anything like that. We would just catch up in our own time, and they would always encourage us to do schoolwork first. We would have like monthly catch-ups with our PDM at Port, like our like mental health person, and like to make sure that we're on track with everything, which like just made it so much easier. So yeah, I'm like very lucky with Port and my school to be able to like work together to make it a lot easier for me. Because yeah, like it wasn't so hard, but like obviously now it's much easier like to juggle. But yeah.
Shit, Amelie would be so good at real estate, eh? Took the house down, just like runaway sentences, fantastic. Well, you touched on mental health. What is that space like? What is the support like? Because that's changed so much in the professional space. I feel like athletes are getting a lot better support with managing their mind and managing their mental health to actually perform. Is that something that's been really helpful for you? Do you have any kind of concerns, or have you had any issues in that space? And has someone helped you in that area?
Yeah, well, I'm actually really lucky. Like I have a beautiful family at home, beautiful friends and everything, beautiful partner, and like they've all just helped me so much. And like if I'm ever struggling with anything, they will help me. And with Port, we have a counsellor, Amanda, a PDM who like just works with us about anything we need, and we get free counselling sessions if we need it. And it's just amazing the support you get now, because back when my dad was playing football, or like anyone, like they just wouldn't get the support that we get, and they like always say how lucky we are.
Yeah, been so scared to talk about it as well.
Yeah.
Now the conversations have just been had a lot more, which is making it easier just to be vulnerable and be open in that way.
Yeah, definitely. And like if I ever was feeling flat or something, we would get approached at training and be like, are you doing okay? Like, or even the girls, we would all help each other. And like I think it's more aware, like it has more awareness now than what it used to. And so like I think we're really lucky as professional athletes to have the support we do and the people around us, because yeah, I've been really lucky throughout my career so far that I haven't had any problems. And I just have such great support. Like if something is coming up, then straight away it will get noticed and it would be fixed and out of my mind. So yeah.
It's so good that you have that support network. I mean, you don't necessarily need someone like a counsellor or mental health worker to help you if you do have such a good family network, close friends, like a loving partner that can really just be there when you need it. And it almost just alleviates that pressure and feel like it's all okay and you've got the right network that you need. But a lot of people, or some people, don't have that, and they just don't have that really strong family tie sometimes for just unfortunate circumstances that have arisen in childhood. So actually being able to have that support network if needed is fantastic for you and the girls.
Yeah, definitely. Like so fortunate for that kind of thing, because I know some people don't have, like some people live away from home. So I think that's a big mental thing for some of the girls in the team, and that's just important. And it shows us girls to get around everyone and to make everyone feel like we're their family. And I think that's what we've built really well at Port, and not afraid of anything, and to just, like to know who lives away from home and who doesn't have like the support that I have. Like I go home and I have dinner cooked or things like that, and like they have to do everything themselves, which would be a lot tougher, and like they do get homesick. And I think Port are really good with that as well. Like if they are homesick, they'll be allowed to go home for the weekend or when we have something off or something like that. So yeah.
What do you guys do to keep the culture, to keep that kind of real family vibe in the club and in the team?
I think like just by catching up outside of football, like, or now that we're in off season, we've got off season running to do, and always to, because we don't see each other as much around the club anymore, just to make sure, like, if we're going for a run, we put it in the group chat, and then like a big group of us will all catch up, and then we'll go get a coffee after or lunch, and then even on weekends we'll go for like a walk or something, like take the dogs down to the beach, and like we'll just all catch up or just do like so many events outside of football. And I think that's just like what brings us so close together. And like we just have such a loving group, like no issues in the group, no gossip. It's not like that bitchy kind of sport kind of thing. So I think we're really lucky to have like the culture that we do at Port. So
that's awesome, because that can ruin a team. So like, have you had any little kind of issues that you guys had to just talk it out and just make sure that you guys are on the right page together as a family, as a club?
I feel like sometimes if the standards aren't right, like if someone's not doing something that we should be doing, then like we pick it up straight away and we talk as a team to make sure the issue's done and we don't do it again. So I think we react to that really well. Like if like, someone's not doing running, or if someone's doing something on weekends they're not meant to do, then we like address it straight away as a group and say this isn't okay, and then we just move on from it and it's just done and we don't do it again. It's like, good.
It sounds so healthy. That's really important. That's the only way. Otherwise it just becomes something that's so much bigger than what it needs to be.
And then like people just talk or something like that, and it's just easy to address it where it is.
Is that something that your coaches really try to drive and instill from like day one, to say like, these are the standards, this is what we need to have as a club together to achieve what we want to achieve as a team, to make sure that we're on the right track? Yeah,
definitely. And we have such like a young coaching group and like people who have experienced themselves like in the AFLW, so they know what standards is. And like I think our leadership group, and like with Erin leading that, and Ange Foley and Janelle Cuthbertson this year, like I think we're just so lucky to have the like professionalism that we do, and to set standards straight away, to know what's on, what's not on, and so that there's a very low chance that we are going to make a mistake because they're set straight. And I think in the first season, that was something that as a first year club, we didn't really have as much of. And I think we learned so much from that last season. So this season just being like, we could address it on day one, address everything we were like happy with, not happy with, standards and things like that. So I think this season was like a huge improvement, and it was really good.
Nice. Really cool to feel that kind of shift and that momentum starting to build. What is it like being with Erin? Has she been like a big mentor to you? Has she been like a kind of like a mother hen for you in that way? Like what's her role in the team been, and more specifically for you as an individual?
Yeah, I think like coming into the team as like a 17-year-old, it was very nerve-wracking. Like I've grown up knowing who Erin Phillips is, and then like walking in the change rooms and like seeing her, I was like
seeing her on those shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. And seeing the muscles and knowing that I'm going to be tackled by that. I was
it's like, oh no. Thank God you're on my team.
Yeah, exactly. And from day one, she got around us girls, made us feel so welcome, just like the whole team did. And I think just like by playing with her, you just learn so much like about like how to be professional on and off the field, like how she drives her standards and like her expectations, and seeing her in the gym, like setting goals and things like that. I think that's like shown us young girls like how to, if we want what we want, like how to get to where we want kind of thing. Like
we're seeing it like firsthand.
Yeah.
It's like she's maybe not saying all the time, but you just see it from her actions.
Exactly.
And you're like, wow, like this is what it takes to get to that level.
Yeah, exactly. Like to watch her do what she does, and like if she is injured, she'll be doing everything she can to get back on the field and like to do what she can. And like she doesn't go by her name. Like you wouldn't know, like she's got such a big name by like how she treats us girls. Like it's just like she's just one of us, and like she doesn't get things more than we do. Like it's just we're all the same team, we're all equal and things like that. And I think that's something that she should be like so proud of, because like it's just really cool to see. Like she doesn't think, oh, like I'm Erin Phillips, I get to do what I want. Like she trains just as hard as we do. She does everything the same. If she's not doing something well, we get called out in a team like meeting or something like that, like on the field, and like no one's scared of her or anything like that anymore. So like it's really good to be a part of, and to be able to say that I've played with her is really cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. The fact that she's staying humble as well is really important. Has there been anyone else in the team that's been like a really big mentor for you, or you think is given you some really good insights to help you in your first 2 seasons?
I think especially like this season, Janelle Cuthbertson, I can't even say her last name right, we call her JC and that's for a reason. Like to play beside her in the back line, and as well as Hannah Dunn, who was a former captain of Gold Coast Suns, like to play with them in the back line, it's just like taught me so much, like as like just like how to play and like what to do, and like if I'm not doing something right, they'll call it out and be like, okay, do this, and like it just helps so much like to have their leadership beside us. And and then there's Ange Foley, who came into the back line a bit this season, which was just like, they just have so much experience, and like to be able to like use the switch kick, which like instead of like sometimes for me, I would just go long because it's the easy option, but like the proper way, like sometimes like you have to switch out of traffic or something like that, and like they just lead that. So like they just lead by example kind of thing. And I think they're the main ones. And then there's Gemma Houghton, who I would always play on at trainings, either or Ashley Saint, who is a former Crows player, and to play on those two, like it taught me so much. Like after a training, we'd be like, okay, so this is what we did, this is what you did well, and this is something you could improve on, and then like we would do that to each other like the whole preseason. And by the end, like I just learned so much, and to be able to like for Gemma and Ash to actually like want to do that with me was a huge thing, because they know I'm still learning, and like they just helped so much. So
Nice. What sort of things are you working on in your game? Like certain skills or certain things you want to bring more into your game to improve you as a backman?
Yeah, I think like through this season I've improved on like aerial contests and things like that. But then when I do get the ball, I need to like have composure. So that's something I want to really work on going into next season, and also executing my kick, because like that's definitely an area which I can improve on. Like from being in the AFLW, it's improved so much, but like I've just still got so much improvement to do, and it's just so exciting because like I'm at where I'm at now, and like if I keep training hard and things, then I'll be able to get to the next level kind of thing. But I think kicking and like composure with the ball and not rushing all the time is something that I really want to work on going into next season. And it's a bit annoying because in the off season, my hand at the moment, I can't do any marking or kicking really, because I have to wear this guard. So like as soon as I get this off, then I'm just going to work so hard to be able to do the things that I need to improve on.
So are you guys currently in pre-season, or how does the kind of season look in terms of length? When is your pre-season? How much training are you guys doing?
Yeah, so we finished our last game probably about a month ago now, and we started our off-season running last week. So our off-season running will go all the way up to pre-season. So pre-season doesn't start till May. So we have so long until pre-season actually starts. So it's just running 3 times a week at the moment, and then gym twice a week, and then eventually it'll go running 3 times a week to gym 3 times a week. Coming like I think in 2 weeks it goes to that. And like it is a lot, like, but I mean, we already like saw improvements from like last season to this season going into this season. So I think it just like motivates us a bit to keep on running. And so in season we train, well this year we trained 1 day a week, like so during the day. So it would go Mondays gym, Tuesdays train during the day, Wednesdays gym, Thursdays train during the day, and then Saturdays during the day, I think it was something like that. I forgot now, because and then when we go into season it gets different because training much less than pre-season, but then I'm pretty sure going into next season we're going to be training like 2 full days a week. So then that impacts a lot of the girls who like work like full-time jobs, like if they're a teacher or something like that, then like it's a bit hard for them to juggle, I think. So I think that's something. So
is the training load in the AFLW just increasing as each season goes on, as the professionalism starts to get more and more? Yeah,
I think so. Well, from my first year in 2022 to this year, I've definitely seen an increase on how much we train and what we actually do at trainings. And I can only imagine it's going to go up as time goes on.
How many of the women are actually doing that full time? And how many are maybe doing another job? And is it feasible to be a full-time athlete in the AFLW?
I think like there's definitely majority of the girls do work another job. I don't think like it's not like a full-time pay yet really for most of the girls. So yeah, most of them do work a second job, and I think eventually, like in the upcoming years, like each year our pay is going up now, which is nice. So like from when I came into the comp, the pay like doubled. So I think the minimum wage was like 20 grand or something. And then when I came in, the minimum wage was like 39 or something like that. So like it was a huge jump already. So yeah, and then this year it's gone up to like, I think now like 50 is the minimum wage or something like that. And so like, I think as time goes on, it will eventually come to a full-time job, but at the moment it's not a full-time job. Like you need to do something outside of football still. It's not like the men's, but yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it is growing and it is improving. You can just see from those years that it is starting to grow and expand in that way, and just with more exposure, better TV rights.
Definitely.
The season expands a little bit more. The professionalism starts to come into play a little bit more. That's just going to increase. It's just going to be a matter of time.
Yeah, definitely. And like to see where it's come, like from like last year, our showdown that we had, it was the first ever women's showdown. And I think we had like just over 20,000 people there. And like, that's just amazing to have that much of a crowd, like for women's football. Like you just wouldn't expect that. And like at home, like it's sellouts at Albert and Oval. And like, it's just so amazing to see how much like each year the crowds are lifting, and like the more TV rights we are getting, like you watch them and it's on like the finals at the moment, the grand finals this weekend for the AFLW, and it's like on channel, like on the TV, and it's just like to see women's football on the TV and being televised, and like it's just so exciting because it never used to be like that kind of thing. So yeah.
What is that feeling like on match day, let's just say in that showdown, for example, when you got 20,000? Can you really feel the energy of the crowd? Does it spur you on? Does it really lift the adrenaline? What's that experience like?
Yeah, it's like, well, I've never played in front of that big a crowd. Like it was so nerve-wracking, like warming up and things like that. But I think as the game goes on, you just forget about the crowd, and like I don't know, it was good because it was a Port home game, so there was more Port people there than Crows. And like at the start of our games, we played the Never Tear Us Apart, and like it just feels so like real, and like that we're one kind of team. And yeah, it's definitely nerve-wracking to be playing in front of a big crowd, but like it's awesome because it's just exciting to see they're all here to watch us play football kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you have any connection with the men team? Like, do you guys kind of work together in some way? Do you communicate? Do you have days where you're training and then they're training as well, the same place? What's that like?
Yeah, well, especially last season, like with COVID, we couldn't really cross paths too much because like it was just a high risk, and like rules were made and things like that. But then we would do like clinics together, like for little kids. And then we would be partnered up with the boys, and like it would be good to like get to know them a bit more and things like that. And then this season, it was again like a bit tough because like we train at different times. Like we train normally at night times and they train like early mornings. So like I don't know, like we cross paths a bit and like we say hi and things like that. And like yeah.
Is there any kind of mentorship from them though? Like, do they reach out or do they try to support and help you guys in the Women League at all? Which is kind of like just anything to advance your game further? Yeah,
like we were lucky because we had Bryn Teagle, who is one of the girls' cousins in our team. So he played for the men's team, and then Julia Teagle plays in the women's team, and like he would come to our games, and then he would bring like the Port boys to our games, and then afterwards we'll like talk to them, and like if we ever like cross paths in the gym or something, we would always say hi and have a chat with them, which is nice. Like it's never awkward or we never avoid them or anything like that. But I think the club really want like this season coming up us to do more things together. And now that COVID's gone, and like because we've got new facilities getting built at the moment at Port, which aren't fully done yet, and they're meant to be done in January. So I think when they're done, then like we will cross paths a lot more and do more stuff together. But
amazing. What is the commitment like? Are you just committing fully to AFLW? Is there any kind of other work that you're doing? Are you trying to make it just a full career that you want to see if you can just keep continually growing in?
Well, so when I did get out of school last year, so I think school finished in about November, and then in December I got a job in real estate. So I worked for Ray White, North Adelaide,
cool.
so just around the corner. And so yeah, I was doing that. I was doing property management because like with football, I can't do sales because like it's full-time work. On weekends you have to work and you just can't do that with like, playing football. So yeah, I did property management and I did that up until about September this year, and then I handed in my resume and I was like, no, I can't do it anymore.
Sure.
It was just getting too much with my football. Like it was a lot, like, you know, you'd go from work straight to football trainings and every single day. And I did that straight from out of school and like I just needed a break. So then, after I think 3 games of this season, I ended up, handing that in and said, thank you for everything because, it was amazing. And then probably that half, that from the 3rd game onwards, that was like my better like half of the season. I think it just made me like realize that I was just tired and exhausted from working that second job. So I was like really happy that I did just focus on my football for that second basically half.
You felt like you could really commit and just your football then was thriving because you were giving all of your energy and attention to it rather than maybe like you were still giving all your attention but you had this in the background to worry about and it made it a little bit hard to do both.
Yeah, definitely. And like I feel like I'm getting more sleep now and like I can eat at proper times and like focus on like the more important things. So like I'm really glad that I did do that. But then leading into next season, of like, because at the moment I don't have a second job, so like football is like my full-time thing. But yeah, like I will get a job leading into like next year. I was doing like a SANFLW job, so just like working for like little clinics and things like that, and it would be 2 times a week or something like that. Like it was so easy and simple, and I love little kids and things like that, and like working with them and teaching young girls football and things. So that was really good. But now that's finished, so that finished probably 2 weeks ago. So at the moment I'm just like kind of relaxing, and then eventually we'll get into something else at the start of next year and maybe real estate again. But I'll see how we're going.
When you're playing your best, what do you feel like is coming together for you on field? When what's happening off field for you, and then when you feel like you're really flying, what sort of zone are you in? What's helping you play like your best brand of football?
So there was, I think from a West Coast game, like I think that was like my really turning point this year, which like really helped me. So like it might sound silly, but I did this spoil when I shouldn't have done a spoil. I should have marked, like I was by myself and I've just spoiled the ball instead of marked it. And then like my like line coach said to me like, come on, like mark that. And then from that on, I like every time I saw a flying ball, like I would always go for the mark. And I think I just took my game to the next level with that kind of thing. And it was just that simple turning point for me to just get told, okay, do this. And then like, it's just on my mind to be able to do it. And like, I think from that point, like it was just that,
just a moment to back yourself in. Just like, hey, like you got that. Like, you don't need to spoil, like back yourself in, Emily. Like that's easy mark for you.
Exactly. And that's exactly what my like coach would say to me. And then like from that point onwards, I would just back myself in on the field, and I would have more trust in myself to hit that kick. And like the coaches would be like, it's okay to make a mistake. Like if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter. Like we don't care about skill errors. Like we can easily fix that. Like things like that. So I think like the coach is backing us in as well, and knowing they're not going to get like angry at us for that kind of thing. It's only when we do like silly mistakes, like if we don't go for that ball or we stay back and like don't back ourselves in, that's when they get annoyed. So to know that like I back myself in, my coaches back myself in, it's just like helped me so much.
That would help you build so much more confidence.
Yeah.
Just to go like, no, I'm going to hit that kick. Because if there's an element of doubt, especially if you're trying to hit a target like that in a skillful game like football, it's so easy to make those errors.
Yeah, and like especially because it is like women's football, and you do hear like, oh, like they can't kick, they can't do this. And so like when you do stuff that kick up on the field, it's like, oh, now like
all of that stuff comes to your mind in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the side that like kind of is scary for me, like with playing women's football. Like if you don't like hit the kick, then you might get hate on the sidelines or something like that. So I think that's like something that is really good right now for us. Like you think that in your mind, but then you go off field and no one talks about it. Like it's just all in the mind that people are going to say stuff, but they don't. And I think that's what's like annoying with women's football. Like you think these things, but it doesn't even end up happening.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I was going to ask about that. Like, do you have any, have you had any issues with that? Because I know that there's always keyboard warriors out there that just love to get on their expert armchair and talk a little bit of rubbish with a beer in their hands while they watch you do your thing as a professional, which is always, I find, quite funny. But do you have any issues with that? How do you manage that? Because you can't escape that. That's the age we're in with social media. You're just going to cop hate whether you're great or not great. How do you manage that? Have you had any issues with that? What's that like as a professional athlete in women's football?
Yeah, like I haven't had really too many issues with it, but like you do see it, like if someone doesn't do something well and there's a write up on it, then like I think as athletes, like we're told just not to look at the comments, and like it's easier said than done sometimes. But like I feel like that's a part where I'm quite good at it. Like I just don't look at the comments, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. Or if I've had a bad game, I'm like, it's not worth looking at it. Like I don't know, I just kind of block that out of my mind. But then like if someone like you're hanging out with or you're out and about or something like that, and someone says, oh, like women's football is terrible or something like that, then it's like, I think I've just learned to ignore it. Like their opinions, I don't care about it at all. Like it's invalid to me. Like I'm doing what I love and I'm happy. So if I'm happy, that's really all that matters. Like I'm not going to let like a little negative comment get in my mind and like make me focus on that more than my football, because like that's what they want kind of thing. But like I feel like, yeah, growing up, like when I did play for Golden Grove and like the boys at school would be like, oh, you're playing football or something like that. And I'll be like, yeah, I am. Like, and then like kind of did make me doubt myself or whatever. But then I feel like as I've grown up, like I've just learned to block it out, and yeah, like they're not important to me.
For sure.
Yeah, talking that stuff.
No, it's a spot on perspective. Like it's a great perspective, a refreshing perspective that you have, because you can't control that. And we're living in a really weird time where we actually can see other people's opinions on social media, and that never was the case before. You couldn't actually see what people were writing about you or talking about you. Now, for some reason, people feel like they have a license to just talk absolute rubbish about you because they've got nothing better to do with their time. But yeah, it's not a reflection of you. I think it's more a reflection of the person that they are, and that's okay. And they also have a license to do that if that's what they want to do, but you have no control over that. But
and like by watching like women's football, obviously it's not at the standard the boys are at yet, and like there's so much improvement to do. But so like everyone has a right to say like women's football isn't as good as men's, because like to be honest, like they've been playing much longer, and it's not where it's like women's and like men's. Like it's so different, the game. Like we aren't exactly where it's at yet, but we'll get there eventually kind of thing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. How is the game changing? So from even before you were playing in the AFLW, how have you observed the AFLW, just the standard changing from, let's say, the first season now to the season that you're about to embark on?
Yeah, like I feel like the speed of the game has increased so much. Like you look back on season 1 of the AFLW and like the ball movement is so slow and most kicks are stuffed up. And then like watching the game on the weekend, like with North Melbourne and the Crows, like you just watch the ball movement of the game and like the speed and like the overlap handball, and like it's just amazing to watch, because yeah, like it didn't used to be like that, and it would be frustrating because like there just wouldn't be anything exciting happening. But then when you see like the fast ball movement happening, it's just good to watch. And like obviously scoring is a big thing in the AFLW. Like it's not as high as what we would like it, and so that's why we do play like 16 aside and like do have like slightly different rules to the men's game to hopefully like increase our scoring. And like I feel like that did improve this season, and like when there's more scores, it's obviously more exciting. And like when you're scoring like one goal a game, it's like it's just it can get boring to watch, I guess. So like yeah, those things are kind of where we're heading, and like getting better at it kind of thing.
It's cool that you guys are aware of what you really want to do better and where you want to take the game, because I think like it is exciting times for you guys, and to be part of that kind of inaugural starting point of the AFLW is really, really cool. And you're going to look back on it when you're older and go like, yeah, we were part of kind of that wave and that starting point. Do you worry about injuries? Like it's pretty brutal, and women's bodies different to men's bodies. I don't know really much about how that impacts the kind of hits and if that really does change the sort of injuries that are occurring in women's football. Do you have any insight into that, of the sort of injuries that are occurring in women's football that might be different to men's just from having different bodies?
Yeah, like two of our girls this season have done like their ACLs, and it's like so sad to watch. But like, I think injuries is like obviously a really scary thing to do, like in a game. And if like you're going into a contest, you get scared that you're going to get crunched or something like that, and it's going to hurt. Like, and it does hurt, like sometimes in more areas than others, like for girls. And like, but there's like things you can do like prevent that. Like there's like chest guards that like girls can wear now to like protect it or whatever.
Do many women wear that?
I think, yeah, quite a few of the girls do. And I think it's like becoming more of a thing now. Like
Sure.
It used to be like, oh, you're wearing that, like kind of thing. But now like people are encouraging it definitely for like injuries and things like that. And I think like injuries is obviously like a scary thing no matter what you do. And like it's definitely something that scares me, but fingers crossed, like so far I've been really lucky with them. So it hasn't, like I would have the small niggle like in my hamstring or quad or something like that. And so I've been lucky. And then my finger, but it was in the last game, so that's all that really matters. I was lucky with that. So yeah.
Do you, in the women's football league, do you guys think about just collisions and being tackled and how that can affect the body as just potentially having children later down the line? Like, is there any, because again, I'm genuinely curious here. I have no understanding of, can that actually affect fertility? Can that affect actually birthing children later on? Is there any conversation around that? And does anyone talk to you about the risks, or if there is any risk around that?
I think there is, like every now and then there will be like video calls, like a Zoom call or something, where people do talk about those kinds of things. But like, to be honest, I haven't joined any of them. Like right now, that's not like something that I'm really like worried about. Like,
it's a different age for you, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't think there's like huge issues with that kind of thing. Like, I think the more like the topic is like the concussion side of things.
Sure.
And because it is such a big thing in like football, men's and women's. And it is like scary knowing how like people have been affected, but there is so much knowledge and like so much we get done and taught about like concussions and like the effects and things like that. So I think we're really lucky with that side of things. But like, yeah, I think that's the main topic that we talk about.
Have you had a concussion? I was going to say discussion. Have you had a concussion?
I've had like a very minor one, and like it was called a concussion, whether it was or not, I don't really know. But
and that meant you couldn't play the next week. What's the rule around that?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's 14 days or like 2 games you have to miss. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, and like especially in the AFLW, like we have a 10-game season, and if you do have like a concussion, you're out for 2 weeks. Like we don't.
That'd be frustrating.
Yeah,
if you're just keen to get into it.
Exactly, and like that's kind of like the thing with concussions. Like it'll make people want to say like, oh no, like I'm fine, because like you don't want to miss that 2 games. But like I think because we've been taught so much about it, we're like smart enough to be like, okay, like if we have hit our head, then it's more serious than what we think. And if we do hit our head the next game again, then like it could just lead to so much more serious stuff. And so yeah, I think with like the knowledge we've been taught on it, like it's really good. Like we just pick it up straight away and be like, okay, like yeah, you pick up the symptoms and things like that, or you don't lie to the doctors because like, you know, they're there to like help you and things like that. So yeah,
you can't mess with that stuff. I mean, it's pretty serious, and you see a lot of especially in NFL or other really brutal like head-on contact sports like that. Just so many guys in that area getting CTE with just like the brain trauma. It's brutal, and you can see the ripples of that in AFL with some athletes as well. It's like it's pretty brutal. You can really mess up the rest of your life later on if you don't take that stuff seriously. Yeah,
exactly. And like you see like people who have played AFL or even football, and they have had so many head knocks, you can see like the effects they're having later on in life that they didn't have when they were young, which is like really sad. But I mean, I guess that's just like a consequence of playing football. And I think like back then it wasn't as like they were just like, okay, you can play next week, when now it's taken more seriously and you would have to miss the 2 games, or if you're feeling if you're still feeling symptoms, then it can be more. So I think it's really good that like it's come to where it is now, because it's like, yeah, you don't have to feel ashamed and like feel like you're weak for having a concussion kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah.
Is there anything in the AFLW that you think needs to change, that you think like the competition could really benefit from, maybe some tweaks in rules or anything in general in the competition?
I think like a lot of like things have changed going into the season, just being like we wouldn't play at like Adelaide Oval for the showdown. We'd play at Norwood Oval, and like it sounds like bad that we don't get to play at Adelaide Oval, but like it's for the benefit of us, because like it was a sellout at Norwood Oval, and like I think it just makes the game look like there's so many more people there, and I think that's what we needed, like to use smaller facilities to be able to like pack out the oval. So then it's like if you're watching on TV and you look, there's no one in the crowd, then you're just going to laugh or like be like, oh, that no one wants to watch that. But then if it's at a smaller venue, then like it's a full packed out crowd and there's people everywhere. And like I think that makes women's football look a lot better, and like it's funner to play with if like the crowd's full and things like that. So I think that's something really good that's changed going into this season. And like I think that's like the main thing, kind of like for people not to be able to talk like not talk bad about it, kind of thing. So I think that was like, yeah, a really positive thing that had changed. And like with our pay, that's only increasing, which is really good for us. And it's obviously not where the men's are at, and we don't expect it to be. Like it's increasing, which is really nice. And like our standard, like I said before, isn't where the men's at yet, but like we're on our way there. So like, so is our pay, kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's like the main ones that have
awesome.
been sorted.
Any key goals for you with just where you want to take your football that you're thinking about for the next season and beyond?
Yeah, like I think even with my exit meeting this year that I had with my coaches and stuff, they said they would love me to focus on my leadership and like making my voice more like aware at trainings, and like not being like just helping people and like the new girls that are coming in, like to make them feel welcomed and things like that. So I think leadership's like a big one that I want to keep on improving on, because like one day I'd love to be like part of like the people I look up to. I'd love like the younger ones to like look up to me and be like, she's like helped me so much. So I think that's like a huge goal like in the upcoming seasons for me. And then like I guess just off the field, like being more aware of the things that help me recover well, because I'm young at the moment. Like I don't really like, I get sore after games but not so bad, but then like as you get older you get more sore and things like that. So like I want to make sure that I'm like aware of those kinds of things and like how I can help my body now for when like I'm older.
Sure.
I think like leadership, and that's really the main things.
What sort of things are you doing for recovery? Do you guys get into like the Normatec and ice bath and all of that? Saunas?
Yeah, but all three of them, they're like a main thing. Hot and colds is my main thing that I use, and then like sauna as well. I probably sauna like once a week during season. Then like in off season now, like I just love the sauna. Like I'm in the sauna like 3 times a week or like something like that, and just like doing off leg sessions instead of like running more than 3 times a week, because like that's not going to be good for my body. It's not what it needs. So like, and riding the bike's just good for you, like building leg muscle and things like that. And I think hot and colds is the main one for me that I do in recovery. But
And stretching, is that like, do you have like a full program or anything like that you really get into? Foam rolling, anything in that sort of realm?
Yeah, I definitely do foam roll a lot, like especially with my legs and lower body. And then like during our gym programs, we'll do like certain things to help our hamstrings, something like that. So they'll be like involved in our gym programs. So that'll be like 3 times a week we're doing those exercises to help like our hamstrings especially.
Is that Nordics?
Yeah. Like and they're
Spoke to a
deadly.
couple other guys about Nordics, and especially in AFL when it's just heavy on the legs like that, and a lot of running for the hamstrings.
Yeah, and then like lots of adductor and abductor things we would do, because we do get lots of like tight hips, like especially me, I get tight hips and like groins in training, so then that's like a focus for me. So stretching is a big thing, and I guess it's just an expectation to do that in your own time.
Yeah.
But they do put some in our like gym programs as well.
Sure. And Port Adelaide, what are you guys really striving for? So it sounds like you guys are on the up from your first season. What are you guys really thinking? Where do you want to take this next season?
Like I think it starts now, like where we want to go. Like going into last season, we'd done the running program and things like that. But like going into the proper pre-season, we probably weren't as fit as what we needed to be. So then in our like pre-season, we had to focus on running, and like we couldn't get the most out of doing like skills, I guess, because like we would have to do like half an hour of running. So then I think going into next season, we really want to be really fit. So then when we do get to that pre-season, we're ready to train and like work on what we want to work on going into the season. And I think we're all on the same page, and we're all so excited because like we're all pushing each other to get to where we're at. And yeah, I think that's like the main thing for us for next season, to be like nice and fit and ready. Because even from like season 1, when Port came in, to like last season, we were so much fitter, but then it just shows how much our game lifts when we're all fit and like ready to go together kind of thing. And I think just keep on working on our skills as a team and things like that is where we want to head.
Awesome. Love what I'm hearing. You've got such a good head on your shoulders. You're humble, you're grounded, you got a good support network around you, and you're just absolutely kicking goals at a young age. And we wish you absolutely nothing but the best. And it sounds like, yeah, you're loving your footy and you're doing it for the right reasons. And I think you've got a bright future ahead of you. So thank you so much for being part of the conversation today.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks again.